They were such a pain in the butt, and some of it's caused some of the damage today. Some of the state road department's standards don't fit wooden bridges so good. And so it's caused a little bit of rot and stuff, where maybe if we'd have done it back to Lemuel Chenoweth's original design, we could have stopped that. But anyway, so they come in here with a state road, and we managed to get this thing done under budget and get it fixed up. When I left, it was painted white, so since that time they've come back and painted it red a little bit. But since then, they've done no maintenance at all. So the mayor gets a hold of me and says, after being here, he says, I've got this grant, John, do you think we can get it back up on its feet? I said, well, the problem is we don't own it. The Department of Highways owns this bridge, and you're going to try to fix it with your city money. And so I went down to the Department of Highways and went in and asked for the district engineer and signed a little piece of paper. And told the lady, well, you got to go in a thing where there's a window like a bank and bring in and sign up. So I go in and sign up, and a guy comes out of the hallway 2 doors down and leaned up against the wall. And he said, oh my God, Jon Smith, you're alive. I said, what? He said, you're alive. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we assumed you were dead. And I said, what made you do that? He said, well, when you did the Simpson Creek Covered Bridge, after this, when we did Simpson Creek, he said, that was 2002. He said, man, that's been 20-something years ago, and you were the oldest guy on the crew then. He said, we looked up Dr. Emmett Kemp, he's dead. Looked up Paul Marshall, he's dead. Blair Lee, he's dead. He said, and Tom, they're all dead. We just assumed, we stopped looking. And I said, you've been looking for me? He said, yeah, we've been looking for you because the city of Bridgeport would like to take possession of the Simpson Creek Covered Bridge. It's sitting down there, and because of everybody here, they say, you know, these things are great to have, great benefit to the community. We can have events, you know, we can really promote the Simpson, you know, the Bridgeport area with this covered bridge. So they're trying to figure out a way to pass ownership. So they were going to talk to me about some kind of thing like that. And I walked in to see could we get a permit to fix this one. So since that time, they've sent us around the horn 20 times. And the different places, and it doesn't seem like there's a place you can just walk up and buy a building permit for a covered bridge. And I talked to the future mayor a little bit about it. It's a strange thing. 100 years ago, if you needed a sawmill or a grist mill, you put a dam across the creek, put a wheel in it, and start to work. Nobody said nothing. You didn't kill any crawdaddies. 150 years ago, they had floods like we had in Fairmont not long ago, but the coal companies were required to build retention dams in some of the steep hollows. They didn't hold water, but they would hold a flood and let it ooze out slow. We don't do that anymore. This permits, all this stuff that was so easy to do when this bridge was built, now takes 7 lawyers and a couple engineers. It's the craziest thing we ever done. But as soon as this bridge day is done today, we're back working with the state trying to get the permits for the water. To put a tarp under here and stay out of the water, we're still going to need a permit from Fish and Wildlife. They seem to be the ones that's kind of snagging us back right now. As soon as we get that done, we're going to come in with an engineer and start shoring it up. We're going to put crib block under both ends so we can change both sills. Both sills are bad on the ends. And you can see it's starting to fall in here a little bit. There's some other stuff. It's got a stainless steel roof on it. And that was made by Follinsby Steel. Turncoat stainless. We also put the same roof on the Upshur County Courthouse. It will last 250 years. The problem with a roof like that is it lasts so long it put that company out of business. It's hard to sell roofs if your roof's going to last forever. And so it kind of put Follinsby Steel out of business. So this is one of the few in America that's got that on it. Today, and I'm trying to get people kind of involved in what today is. Today is West Virginia birthday. West Virginia Day. This bridge had a little bit of say in the Civil War with the Ice family saving it. It also goes back to the Revolutionary War. Few people know this, but Lemuel Chenoweth's wife, Nancy Hart Chenoweth, who is one of my heroes, believe it or not. Can you imagine a lady with They eventually had 12 children. But I think she had one when they were working here. Imagine a woman in the 1800s with 8 kids and a farm, and her husband is 3 days away by horseback. No cell phone. You can't call him up and see how his day's going. You know, he's that far away, and you're in charge of everything. So we looked it up. Turns out that her father was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. 250 years this year. And those roots go through this covered bridge in Barrackville, West Virginia. It's an amazing story. I got a professor here, and so I got another story that I've just finished writing last night. I've taught historic restoration and preservation for 15 years at Belmont College, and I was a hands-on field lab instructor and hands-on shop instructor for all those years. And before every class started, it's a semester of the term, when you hand out the syllabus, it tells what the class is and what the requirements are. So I handed out the syllabus, and I tell some cornball story about whatever we're going to do, whatever we're up to. For instance, cornball story here at the Covered Bridge is we had a porta-john, and we had one of the guys that spent hours in the porta-john. I don't know what he was doing. He didn't have a cell phone, but he was in there doing a bunch of stuff. So kind of 4th of July, one of my guys decided to be funny to take an M80 and drop down the smokestack while he's sitting in there. Oh. And the word got out. He said to hear something rattling down the smokestack. He jumped up on top of the lid. It went poop and put a brown ring all the way around the inside of it. Or come up and hit the toilet lid, huh? So we didn't have no trouble getting him out of the porta-john after that. We just drop a pebble down that stack. He's coming out. He's coming back to work. But I would tell a humorous story, and I would pay attention to all the students, and I'm trying to think how they're receiving information. Will Rogers said that everyone's got but 3 ways to learn. There's only 3 ways for people to learn. Some people learn by reading, some people learn by hands-on, others, they got to pee on the electric fence. They learn by making mistakes. And so I thought I'd get this figured out. So there's a girl in my class, Jessica Williams. She's very famous now. And she had 2 boys do her work. And she's kind of cute, so, I was anxious to help her. They'd go over there and, help her put her hands-on projects together. Other students got so upset with that, they come to me and say, John, you're going to give her a grade for that? She didn't even do that work. Will you give her a grade for that? And I said, yeah, I'm going to give her a grade. This girl's not going to do this kind of work when she gets out of here. She's going to be a paper pusher. She's learning how they're doing it. She's getting a good grade as they're getting. So one of the other boys, he was from New Jersey. The first day in class, we had to show him all the equipment, and he asked 2 other students, what's a bandsaw? What's a bandsaw? And then I had the third one, Eric Borglund. He was from Florida, and he was in special ed. They gave me this paper that said he was in special ed. He had a speech impediment. That was the craziest thing I ever seen spit on this kid. And he was one of them that would help her, too. He was one that was really into helping her. So now we go to figuring this out 20 years later. And I called him on the phone because I said I might want to be using your name. I want your permission. And I want to make sure that the story I'm telling is the truth. I called Mark Sagro. Mark Sagro today is a head instructor at the National Park Training Center in woodworking. The guy who had no idea what a bandsaw was. And he said, yeah, you can do it. I called Eric, and he's the one who said, yeah, I'm going to verify. He didn't know what a bandsaw was. Eric now is he's in South Carolina. He's out in Charleston. He's very highly respected, and he's very well esteemed by the historic restoration community in that community. But when he got out of school, his parents still wanted him to take hands-on. They put him in the electrician's union, and he lasted 2 years and had to quit. He peed on that electric fence. Oh. And his girl now is in Michigan. She is a professor of restoration preservation at Michigan State University. She owns Preservation Forward, and she classes even goes to Italy and France once a year, not as a field trip, as an actual class. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up. There's just, I had a professor here in the class. It's you just got to realize that everybody's different, and every bridge is different, and we're going to try to bring this one back and put it back where it belongs. Has anybody got questions about the work or the restoration? Or?
Not the restoration itself, but what period of time are you looking at before you actually begin?
It depends on the permit process. It's probably 6 weeks, they're telling me. It's Charleston. You know, in Charleston, everybody's got to touch it. We just finished restoring the old train station in Wheeling. That's now West Virginia Northern College. And you turn a bill in every month, and it's 3 months before you get a check. Anytime you're working for the state, even when we were doing it, it's 3 months. Because you turn that bill in, and it goes into billing, what they do is they send it to the auditor to make sure it's right. And that takes about a month, and then he ships it over to the Attorney General to make sure all your paperwork's in order. And that takes about a month, and then it goes to the state treasurer where they might write you a check in a couple of weeks. Now, you get one every month after the first one, but so I'm hoping it's not taking 3 months for this. Mm-hmm. However, the grant is, we still got 2 years on the grant, I'm understanding. The grant's not going to expire for 2 years. We've hired an engineer, and she's turned in all of her paperwork, and she's been approved by the National Park Service to do the work. And she's been here and done a survey already on what we need to do. And so we're just basically the fish and wildlife people. I didn't know I needed a fishing license or a hunting license. Well, I got one more, I don't know if it's a joke or a funny story. We're at the Simpson Creek Covered Bridge, and unlike this one, the raccoons use it for a bridge more than the people. And it was full of coon poop, full of it. And I go down there to work on it, and the DEP, who we have to work with, is right there at the state road headquarters, same building. I didn't know where they are now or not, but they were. And the guy comes over from the DEP, and he's walking through. He says, what are you going to do with all this coon poop? And I said, I don't know, it's coon poop. You know, what do you do with coon poop? They normally shit in the creek. They don't got a bridge, they just go in the creek. Oh, no, we can't do that. You're going to have to mitigate this. We got to hang tarps under here all the time you're working and clean them out every day. And we'll have to do that here, too. We've got a plan to do that here. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. So we're walking through the bridge, and he's talking to the engineer, and I see a big one laying there, and I just took my toe and went, whoop. He spun around and said, what did you do? What was that? I said, oh, I just improved that coon's aim. He really meant to shit the creek. He just kind of missed. And then they told us we had to do a DEP dump trite for anything we took out of here. So that got kind of crazy. But you can tell by my little 15 minutes of standing here that I really enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I'm really proud of my work. And that's what we got to have. That's what we got to have to get it done. I guess you've got a big history of the bridge, too. Huh?